Instructional design is a hot field right now. Thank you so much, coronavirus. It's like the one bright thing you brought us. And so many of you are here wanting to know, how do I transition into instructional design, or figuring out if this career is right for you? Well, friends, I've got you. Let me show you how to break into instructional design. Hey friends, I'm Vanessa, and on this channel, I help aspiring instructional designers and e-learning developers just like you get off of those sidelines and get into the L&D game. So let's dive into it, right? What exactly do you need to be an instructional designer? And the burning question everyone is asking, do I need to have a formal education? And my answer is, it depends. And I do go more in depth on this in my Do You Need a Master's to Be an Instructional Designer video, which I will link above. But it really does depend on the kind of work that you're hoping to be doing and the kind of industry that you're hoping to be working in. So many instructional designers, this field is full of people that did not study it. They accidentally fell into it. But because we are innate learners and we just love our learning and are more curious people, we seek out educational opportunities and continue to work on upskilling and up-leveling ourselves. So let's say, do you need a formal education? Not necessarily. If I was going into higher ed, maybe. With all that's out there, all the resources, tools like LinkedIn Learning and things like that, you can really learn more about instructional design and adult learning theory and all of those types of things without ever having to step foot in a classroom. But to get you started, here are some things and some areas I want you to focus on when you're beginning your search in instructional design and wanting to learn more about it. First things first is adult learning theory. Adults do not learn exactly the same as children, and things are very different. And it's actually quite eye-opening when you've never really thought about how you learn or really researched more into adult learning, how many things really do tie together. So that's the first place I would start it. And then here are some instructional design theories that I would start with. I'm going to be honest, there's so many ID theories and there's all these facets when you get into like visual design and all of those things. But here are the ones that frequently tend to come up and are a good starting place. First is Gagne's 9 events of instruction. Next is Merrill's principles of instruction. Then I would go to Bloom's taxonomy. And then for like the actual real deal of really good what you're going to be doing day in and day out, action mapping. And you need to go grab yourself the book Map It by Cathy Moore. I'll link my review of that right above. The other thing that I want you to focus on once you've done all of that, like instructional design theory and the instructional design world, is Kirkpatrick's level of instruction. It's really the baseline. It's the most used evaluation model. And it's more often than not, you're going to be asked about that or you're going to see something about it in a job post. So that's a really great place to start your education on it. You want to then build off of that and really pull in, ideas and theories that match more your style and, learn more about what people are saying, the pros and the cons of each of these theories and the evaluation models and things like that. That's where you want to baseline. And once you've done that, I actually think you should really dive into how adults learn and really learning a little bit more about the brain. I've dove into neuroscience a little bit, learning more about it through some work I've done with some of my clients. And I have to say, I am fascinated by the brain, which they would laugh if they saw this. Fascinated by the way that it works and fascinated by how so many things about the brain influence our learning, influence, our preferences and all of those things. And you can really see a lot of threads throughout your life because of the brain. So that really does help to level up your instructional design skills, knowing more about it. And so this is not a model, this is a framework, but I would also learn about the ADDIE model or the ADDIE framework. I have a video all about ADDIE that I will link above, but ADDIE is really what you are going to see 9.5 times out of 10 on job descriptions. That is what everyone talks about. It's a framework everyone uses when putting together an instructional design project. So it's best to start there and then learn other instructional design models and frameworks that you can then apply to your work. Things like Agile and SAM, those are all great. But start with ADDIE because that's what you're going to get most asked about. Here's for that burning question. And this has been a hot topic on LinkedIn. Do you need a formal academy? The answer for me is no. You don't need it. It's not necessary. Tools like LinkedIn Learning and the Googler are totally free. Well, LinkedIn Learning isn't. Through your library it is. You do have options to learn more about instructional design on your own, right? You could study my YouTube videos to learn more about it. You can go to Anchor Training's YouTube video to get more real deal of what it's like to work in this field. Absolutely. That being said, I think that some people prefer the structured and being hand-fed what that process looks like, all the things that they do need to learn and being put on a pacing guide and things like that. So you really need to ask yourself, what do I prefer and what can I realistically do? What am I motivated? Am I self-motivated enough to really dive in and learn more about the field? If not, then you're going to want to look into a certificate program or something like that. The next thing about instructional design that you're going to want to know is not theory-based, not models, not frameworks, but learning more about what instructional design truly is. I've been saying this a lot to my team. I can throw a rock and hit someone that knows storyline. But what I am having trouble finding are people who really understand getting a crap ton of content dumped on you and trying to make sense of it, right? And providing solutions and writing curriculum and really doing the instructional design. We focus so much on the tool. We focus so much on articulate storyline, which is great and it's a great supplement to a learning solution, but often that's not going to be what is actually needed. And frankly, the content that goes into that storyline course has to be written well, and you need someone to put good content together, not just make it pretty. Definitely spend some time learning about all the facets of instructional design. I also find new IDs get intimidated by e-learning development because they may not necessarily have that visual background or that innate skill for visual design. But there are all these other areas that they're ignoring that are part of instructional design that they can get beginning work while they start to hone their skills in e-learning, if that's even an area they want to get into. Say all this to say, make sure you take the time to learn more about all facets of instructional design, writing curriculum, facilitating even, creating instructor-led content, creating virtual content, being a technical writer. There's so many areas that you can work in instructional design that have nothing to do with e-learning. Now that you've become well-versed in theories and all the areas of ID, I want you to really sit and think about, who do I want to be as an instructional designer? What kind of work do I actually want to be doing? And that is to help you specialize a little bit and learn a lot about that area of instructional design and create samples and content in the future that relate to that type of work. If you have no interest in ever being a technical writer, then don't put technical writing samples on your portfolio. There's a lot of talk about niching and generalizing, and personally, I find that when you start out, it is easier to specialize and really hone in on a specific area and solve a problem for that industry or for people looking for that type of learning solution. Doesn't mean you don't have to know how to do all of the things that an instructional designer wants to do, so you can keep that creativity. Doesn't mean that you can't take on clients that are outside of that industry. It just means forward facing. You are the solution for people in that industry or looking for that type of solution. And the reason I want you to specialize is because I want you to hone in and pick an area so that outward facing, you can look like the expert, the go-to person to solve that problem. Obviously, you need to be good at solving that problem for those people, but it really does help to attract people. I saw this really great video and it was like, if you need a math tutor, are you going to go to someone that tutors all these various subjects, or are you going to go to someone that is an expert and the go-to person for math? Well, if my problem is math, I'm going to go to that go-to person. That is the niching, right? Does it mean that maybe that go-to math person also tutors English and philosophy and all these other things, and they can offer that, but what attracted people to begin with is the fact that they are that math tutor, and they're that math expert. I can do a whole video going further in on attracting people through a niche, but then being a generalist. If you're interested in that, give this video a thumbs up, and that'll let me know that you're interested in learning more about branding yourself as an instructional designer and creating an instructional design brand, which I love talking about. Another reason besides specializing that I want you to really focus on the area of instructional design that you want to be known for is because then you can start searching for jobs and things like that in that area, so you can look at the skills that they want someone to have. So if you're looking to be a technical writer, then you're going to want to go look at those technical writing job posts and see what are the common skills, what are the common tools that I need to know to start building that learning plan for yourself. And so after that, I want you to work on your resume. You've done all the work, done all the research, you're looking at what kind of keywords people are looking for in a job that you would like to have. So now is the time to put it on your resume. And I don't mean to fabricate. So if you weren't an instructional designer, don't change your job title to instructional designer. Don't fabricate. What I'm saying is reframe. So often people are doing instructional design type tasks, and that's what ends up getting them excited about being in instructional design. And you've done things that are quite transferable. And so I want you to look at what it is that you're posting on your resume or what you're writing. And I want you to start tweaking some of the content, right? So maybe if you talk about creating a training curriculum for your team when you were on the help desk, and that's like your 7th bullet on the list, maybe you want to bump that up to number 1. And maybe you're going to want to add in a couple of more key things about creating that curriculum. You didn't just develop the curriculum. You probably worked with subject matter experts, the learners, really dove into creating learner personas. You see where I'm going with that? So that's what I mean about reframing your resume. Look for those keywords and look for those areas that you can really expand on to maybe make your portfolio a little bit less, let's say, help desk and a little bit more instructional designer for the help desk. Now, what if you don't have experience? Well, friend, don't worry. I've got you. I want you to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell if you're not already subscribed and have notifications turned on. Reason being is that later on this month, I've got a video all for you, all about how to gain instructional design experience without even being in instructional design. So make sure you look out for that this month. Now that we've worked on our resume, I want you to work on your digital presence. It's time to connect on LinkedIn. It's time to reframe your LinkedIn profile as an instructional designer. I want you to start joining communities, following other instructional designers, joining in and really being part of that community. Maybe you already have a job, so you don't want to change your job title, but you can definitely update the bullets under each of your jobs to be more instructional design sounding, right? Again, reframing, not fabricating. So I want you to take the time to do things like that. And I want you to really dive into who's who in instructional design, not because you want to like fangirl or something like that, but you want to know who's the go-to person for accessibility. And you want to follow them because they're going to have really great resources, really great posts so you can learn more. You want to learn more about who is in this field because it is so vast. And I'm telling you, as small as it may seem sometimes, it is huge. I'm constantly meeting new instructional designers that have really great points of view and really great ways of looking at things. And I'm constantly like mind blown learning things. So get into the community, learn more about what people are asking, learn more about what they're struggling with and what they're looking for solutions for, because it's going to help you as an instructional designer understand what the role is going to be like when you're actually in that role. Okay, friends. So to recap, what I want you to do some learning about instructional design. What is it? What is this field all about? What are all the theories about? What are the models? What are the frameworks? Then I want you to learn more about what do you do as an instructional designer? Step 3, I want you to figure out the type of instructional designer that you want to be. And then step 4, start reframing that resume because you're going to need it sooner than later. And then finally, step 5, build your digital presence. That is your digital business card. That is what people are going to be looking for when they search for you. So make sure you've got that digital presence going and you're learning and meeting others and creating a community. So friends, if you're looking to get into instructional design, these are the very first 5 steps. Is it everything? Absolutely not. Bonus tip, you need to work on your portfolio. So I've got the video just for you for that. Now that you've watched this video, check out this next video that's all about what you need to be an instructional designer and to be in your portfolio. That video is linked right now. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.